So let's get a little meta and talk about overthinking because I'm pretty familiar with it in the sense that I frequently am an overthinker, although it's definitely not something that I generally think of as a negative. I'm much more on the side of uh it being I mean, I guess similar to lots of things where it's what's the word? Context or nuanced, um where it can be as though you feel like there is something worth thinking more about. I know for me there's times where you can be thinking about something and discovering more about it as you think about it, but there is definitely a fine line where the overthinking, depending on the specific context of it or the specific thing you're thinking about, can start going down the path of a more negative path. So there's very much nuance in terms of like, well, when you're when you are well, I guess the problem I have is that there's thinking, but then there's overthinking. So you would then need to like differentiate, okay, at what point is the think turning into over? And that's, I mean, it's most likely when you've gone past your initial goal of whatever you were thinking about, and then it turns into overthink. Um, but for me, I don't think that's ever a or I don't think that that is necessarily bad. More things can be discovered with that more thinking past like your original goal. I mean, you could think of like brainstorming as overthinking because you're thinking beyond because you don't know what is or isn't going to be the thing that you want to end with. Like there is no goal, so you could go with either all of that is just thinking or it's all overthinking because you're taking a topic and just figuring out what is or isn't going to work with it. So it's, I don't know. It's interesting to overthinking. I definitely have had my share of instances where the overthinking was not helpful, but I still enjoy it. I like thinking through things that most people would not uh give much thought about. So overthinking in that sense is also um heavily subjective, since each individual person is going to have a different threshold of think versus overthink. And I think that's fine. That is okay. As long as you overthink responsibly and don't let it sort of carry you away to other paths of rumination and um, thought spirals. Now that's a whole thing. You should be careful with that. Thought spirals can be rough.